Hi there, welcome to Marketing Monday. Got my cup of coffee, ready to go for the week. So listen, I talk to clients all the time about pricing and positioning. And I recently talked to a client who hadn't given themselves a rate raise in 5 years. 5 years. In that time, of course, costs had gone up, the market has changed, their experience had deepened, their results had compounded, and their reputation had grown, but their pricing stayed frozen like that ant in amber in the dinosaur movie. And when I suggested that it might be time for a raise, the response was immediate. They said, I'm worried I'll lose cases. This is the answer that I get back all the time. That fear is real. I hear it often. But because raising your rates can feel so personal, I think is why. And it can feel like, you're standing in a marketplace and asking, do you still think I'm worth it? It makes us feel vulnerable, but pricing is rarely just about price. It's about perception. It's about confidence, positioning, trust. It's about the story that the buyer tells themselves when they're purchasing your services. Most of your clients are buying a block of time. Yes, but they're buying so much more than just hours on a calendar. They're buying reduced risk. They're buying confidentiality. They're buying procedural control when the road gets messy. They're buying the benefit of experience. They're buying your seasoned perspective drawn from all the difficult cases that you've handled. They're buying communication skills when conversations get strained. They're buying your patience when progress slows down. They're buying tenacity when resolution feels out of reach. They're buying credibility that calms the anxious decision makers in the room. They're buying a steady hand to manage complex processes. They're buying the best possible chance to move a difficult matter forward with less chaos, less delay, and fewer really expensive surprises. And that's a very different purchase. And premium pricing in ADR is not simply charging more for a day, it's making invisible value visible. And your clients know that, even when they don't know how to fully articulate it. And the research tells us that people sometimes use price as a cue. But in service industries like ours, that cue is weaker than it is with products because sophisticated buyers believe that they understand what they're buying, I think. So higher fees do not work by themselves. Higher fees work when they're paired with really strong signs of fit, competence, authority, trust. And when something matters, people do not always choose the cheapest option. We know this from every other part in our life. The cheapest surgeon probably is not the one you want to go to, and they probably don't win just on price alone. The cheapest hotel is not always the preferred stay. The cheapest expert is not automatically the safest bet to get right advice. And in professional servicing, low pricing can create its own awkward little question mark. And that is, why is your price so low? What's wrong with this service? So before changing your rates, I often recommend something really simple and powerful. And you know what it is? It's a SWOT analysis. So you look honestly at your strengths, you look at your weaknesses, you look at opportunities, you look at threats, competition. And this really matters because pricing doesn't live in isolation. It lives inside positioning. If the marketplace sees you as interchangeable, then price becomes the battleground. If the marketplace sees you as distinct, trusted, especially well suited for certain matters, the conversation changes then. And this is why niche clarity, reputation, responsiveness, and visibility are not side issues. these are your pricing assets. And I think there's another truth hiding sort of in plain sight. When the lower end of the market gets crowded, generalists feel that pressure first. Specialists with strong signal keep more of the room. And that's why some neutrals feel stuck after 5 years with the same rates. They're studying their calendar instead of their position. A full calendar can be busy, not always strategic, but they can be busy. But I'm not suggesting that every mediator or arbitrator should double their rates tomorrow and, ride off into the sunset on a horse made of invoices. What I am saying is if your value has increased and your pricing has not, there may be a disconnect. So let's talk about the strategy. Raising fees is usually rational when it's backed by sharper positioning, stronger buyer signals, better process design. So all of your intake, your convening, your follow-up, and disciplined measurement. It is especially rational if a fee increase helps you to shed some of those maybe lower fit matters or reduce hidden unpaid labor or create flexibility without reducing your revenue. And I think that the math is friendlier than a lot of neutrals think that it is. A 25% fee increase allows you to lose up to 20% of volume and still keep your revenue flat. Not bad math. If you're a geek like me, I hope you are. And if the matters you lose are the ones that drain the clock, stretch your patience, and somehow generate 1,739 emails before your breakfast is consumed, your income quality may improve even if your raw matter count falls. And that's not bravado talking, that's just strategy. Imagine that you handle 10 matters at the old rate and it leaves you overworked and overbooked and stretched too thin. Now, imagine that you handle 8 matters at a stronger rate. You may earn the same, you might earn a little bit more, but you definitely have more breathing room, you might have more preparation time, you probably deliver an even better client experience. You have a little bit more time and space to work on your marketing, your writing, your public speaking, your networking, your growth. And you have a life that includes time for lunch and the occasional unscheduled exhale. That's not loss, that's leverage. And then there's also a hidden psychological shift that happens when you price appropriately. I think that we begin to show up differently. We communicate with more confidence. We stop apologizing for our value. We stop competing only on cost. And then we start attracting clients that prioritize the benefits and the features of our neutral work over a monetary discount. Also, I think they're just often better engagements. Now, does every market support every fee? Of course not. Pricing should be thoughtful. It should reflect your market, your experience, your niche, your demand, and the experience that you deliver. But it also should reflect reality. We can look next door to the legal market for some clues. And outside counsel, for example, continues to raise rates because buyers will pay for trusted expertise in high stakes matters. Elite firms command extraordinary fees, not because numbers are magical, but because the market believes the risk reduction is real. So seeing hourly prices of $3,000 and $4,000 now is becoming much more normal. $3,000 an hour, $4,000 an hour. It's amazing to me. But it's becoming much more acceptable. Now, that doesn't mean that ADR neutral should mimic law firm pricing. It means that expertise has value when value is legible. And there's a warning there too. In this same market data shows that if prices rise while value stays vague, buyers move their work elsewhere, down market, in-house, anywhere the story feels more convincing to them. And that's the guardrail. So higher fees are sustainable when value is clear, and they're fragile when value is fuzzy. Because ADR is what economists call a credence service, meaning buyers cannot inspect the quality in advance, and they use proxies. So for neutrals, those proxies are things like experience, ethics, communication skill, responsiveness, sector familiarity. For arbitrators, they would be something like subject matter depth, perceived fairness, efficiency, your formal qualifications, your writing discipline, your case management control. And these lead to one maybe uncomfortable but useful conclusion, I hope. If your bio, your website, your pitch materials, your referral conversations all sound like everyone else's, your price will be judged like everyone else's. Low price does not reliably signal good value. High price does not automatically signal quality either. But high price plus specialist fit, plus visible expertise, plus trusted process is the combination that buyers reward again and again. So here's your Marketing Monday question. Are you charging based on your current value or maybe an old fear? Because sometimes the raise that you would give yourself is not just about revenue. It's about building a smarter, stronger, more sustainable practice. So have you raised your rates recently, or have you been thinking about it? I'd love to hear what has worked for you or what is holding you back. That's it for Marketing Monday. Thanks for watching. Be good humans. Bye-bye.